Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Leading Change episode, the Wednesday episode this week with Gonçalo Valverde. Hi Gonçalo, welcome back.
Thank you, Vasco, and it's a pleasure to be here again.
So, Gonçalo, on Wednesdays, we talk about change because, of course, as Scrum Masters, we are constantly involved in change. Could be any type of change, team level change, individual change, organizational change. But tell us a story of one of those change moments that you were involved with and walk us through, how that change went, but also highlight for us the tips, the tricks, the techniques, the practices you started using back then that you still use today.
So I was in this big corporation where Scrum or something like that was, no, not a good idea. We need to have people doing several things at the same time. What stupid idea of that having person just working in one project. That's a waste of resources. And in that year specifically, we already had the CEO saying we are now going agile. So, okay, good. And in that year, we needed to launch a Christmas campaign, which is of course always a surprise. Christmas is something that never happens at the same time. And we never had Christmas campaigns, of course not. So we needed to launch a Christmas campaign in about 1 month and a half from that time. Typically, this was something that took 3 months to build, with much more resources, with other parts of the organization involved. This time, 1 month and a half. And I looked at that and thought, okay, no way. The only way you can do this is using Scrum. Okay, I was going into something that I never really use it, but I was looking, okay, the only way is we need to people focus it. So basically I said to my manager, if you want this, okay, I need a team, just focus on this, and I'm going just to work with this, and we're going to do this using Scrum. We're going to do iterations every 2 weeks. And we're going to do refinements, we're going to do planning every week, etc. And this is the only way we can do it. There was some but in the end, they accepted because everyone was in a tough call. So basically, I needed to do overnight, and by overnight this was decided on Friday, and we started doing this on Monday. So overnight, creating a Scrum team, explaining them how we're going to work, and they built this from scratch. Of course, that requirements were not even fully defined. So it was good for us, nevertheless. So we got them and we started doing the development. There was a lot of interaction within the product owner, which was the first time that person was a product owner, and also with the stakeholders. And we also needed to do several compromises because there was some things that I wanted. We said, okay, we cannot do this, but we can do this. So we need to do a lot of compromises. It was in each step, in each iteration, we were presenting something. People were looking and they saying, okay, this is going in the right direction. And we went more. So after 1 month and a half, sort of, we managed to do everything. It was delivered, not exactly what I wanted in the beginning, but it was on time, and we managed to launch this not only on time, but without any problem, to the point that I was a bit uneasy because typically when we launched things, we forgot a lot of stuff. So this seems to be going too well.
Too well to be true, right?
Too well to be true. But we launched it without any kind of problems. During all of this process, it was also a thing of learning from the team. So, for example, we had people that thought, okay, I just do my stuff and that's it. So we had one person working in the part of integration and he said, oh, but I did everything that it's already did my work. And okay, so if you did your work, let's work with the others. And one of the ways that I use it to put him in this kind of mindset that we work as a team was, okay, we're going to do the demonstration and all of the developers are going to do the presentation of what they did and how we are. Okay, I know that this now it seems very obvious. At the time was something people were looking, oh, but why developers are presenting things, to the point that we even presented things from the innards, the part of the integration. Why I'm sharing this story, it's a question more of when we need to change things, it's you grab the opportunity. there is, if you always wait for the wonderful conditions to do anything, you're not going to change anything at all. So we had this opportunity. It was a big risk because it could have failed. But I saw the opportunity and it was acted as a leverage. And the things worked so well that then I had the backing from management to start changing other teams into Scrum. So this was a project. It was just 1 month and a half. Now I would say, okay, that's probably that Scrum. It's not the best for that smallest project. Nevertheless, it helped a lot. And after that, then we changed about 3 to 4 other teams to Scrum, just because that was such a success. So it was a question of, we had the opportunity. They were in a tight schedule. So, okay, they needed to agree. We managed to deliver. We proved that this worked. We presented results and it worked so fine that people accepted, okay, let's try with others.
One of the things from this story that I think you kind of alluded to that already is this idea that when there's a very clear deadline and a clear definition of success, that's a great place to start. And you started by explaining, typically this took 3 months and now we had 1.5 months. And I think that when you create this kind of burning platform, right, you need to do something out of the usual. You need to go beyond what has been done before. Then, of course, what the practices and the methods that try to give you that become much more of a good option, right? If you had, say, 5 months to deliver what typically took 3 months, you could have afforded to do waterfall, right? But when you don't have the time, you have to go straight into doing. And, you don't have 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to do planning, which is what we do in Waterfall with the architecture requirements and project planning and so on. When you don't have that, you have to take action. And that gives us what many call the burning platform, right? We need to take action. How much do you think, you were able to ask for the right things, right? Dedicated team, I only work on this and so on. But how much do you think that this burning platform actually created the opportunity that you were talking about?
I think that if we didn't have that opportunity, people would want to revert to their old ways and let's do all the kind of typical planning. Let's do analysis for X amount of time and we're going to do this in silos, because this was what people were used to and it's their comfort zone. So in this way, okay, we were outside of our comfort zone totally. And I know I took a big risk there. It was a gambit. Nevertheless, this burning opportunity helped quite a lot. And one interesting thing is that we tend to think that, in Scrum, we don't have deadlines. Sorry, that doesn't happen. Deadlines is a fact of life. Some of them are irrelevant. Some deadlines, it's because someone pulled it from his brain that we need things in this date. Okay, that's something that we should challenge. Other things, we have deadlines like regulatory deadlines, like for example, GDPR. If you're not ready in GDPR, it was a 20 million fine, or Christmas, or Olympics, other things that happen at that time. So deadlines are a fact of life, and sometimes it helps us also in focusing how to deliver better. And that's also a part of changing the organization, because you have these kind of constraints, deadlines, or the constraint to deliver something every sprint, for example, and this shows visible what are the problems that you have that you need to solve. Because if you have infinite amount of time, you will use it for doing anything and you never deliver anything. So in the end, I know this seems contradictory, and some years ago I would say, what the hell are you talking about deadlines? But these kind of constraints actually tend to help not only the organization but also the team to live better, makes the problems visible. And in this case, it made the problem visible that going waterfall will not work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you make a great point, is that we need to, when we talk about change, perhaps one of the things that we should do as we start that change process is to really analyze what are the constraints that support this change, right? That in some way push us towards this change, and use that, of course, in working with the teams and the organization. That was a great tip. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Gonçalo.
Thank you for the opportunity, Vasco.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role. We'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.